And we're back. So something's going on. Either Magic Johnson is an evil genius, or he's going to get fired by All-Star break. Either way, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
So the Los Angeles Lakers signed Michael Beasley to a 1-year contract, which means the only people left to sign are Nick Young, Deion Waiters, and J.R. Smith to complete this.
Right. Whoever's your, they're all gonna be carpooling like to the nearest dispensary because, man, yeah, Magic might be smoking some good stuff too to pull the trigger on.
Is
Mike
Gilbert
Beasley.
Arenas available? Pull some guys from the big three.
Hey, just mix them in there, man. No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Beasley could be a blessing or a curse. The guy has always, he's been that guy for every NBA team he's ever played for. Uber talented, but inconsistent and seemingly a head case. Is LeBron James the guy to, really bring him into the space he needs to be in?
That's what we think. If there's anybody right now in the league, that those kind of players could come play with and become better players or reach their potential, you would think was LeBron. And then also, now that I think about it, I'll say Rondo, because I think Rondo being the championship point guard, and we just know, he's arrogant, but, he's a very smart player, and he knows what it takes to get to that level. I think he's another guy that's going to be able to bring, that potential out of those players. So,
yeah. I think, and, maybe it's just because he's going to be in the purple and gold, but I think in a lot of ways, Beasley could be maybe it's just because he's a lefty too. What Lamar Odom did, at certain times in his career, just being super versatile. Obviously, mostly on the offensive side, but even has some potential, matched up with guys 2 through 4.
definitely.
As long as he figures out how to best fit into what the LeBron James formula is. If he can adjust quickly, then they have a good chance with him. But how do you think, guys like him, Lance Stevenson, some of these younger players who may even not, while they have all the raw skills, they're just intellectually, might not be at the level of LeBron James. Do you think that's something he's come into this situation aware of, is looking to, take his time with? Is this, is that going to be his focus?
I think so. So what my theory now is, and I think Rondo touched on it, and I feel like Magic Johnson had to have had this conversation with LeBron during, the free agent recruitment, is that we've seen how great the Warriors are. You're not going to outshoot the Warriors. Everybody's been trying to make teams in the mold of the Warriors, and it's just not going to happen. You don't find guys that shoot as well as Steph and Clay do. Those are generational, shooters. So it's just not going to happen. And to further that, I was looking up some stats, and Memphis, OKC, Detroit, and Utah. Do any of those teams strike you as three-point shooting teams?
Not very much, no.
And all those teams beat the Warriors last year, especially Utah, smacked them by 30. Now, granted, I think Steph played in two of those games, but one of the games where they had the full squad, Utah beat them by 30. So clearly, you see those teams. The Warriors don't lose often, but losing to those kind of teams, shooting is not what's going to get you to beat your Warriors. You're not going to be able to outshoot them. We even saw that in the playoffs with Houston. Houston was this extremely offensively centered team the entire season, putting up all these threes, and then once the playoffs came and they played the Warriors, small ball. PJ Tucker's getting 30-plus minutes, Ariza, Mahmoud, and they just locked down, played ISO offense, and damn near won them the series. So I think, to go back around that's kind of what LA is looking at. We're not, and especially with Luke Walton being the coach, he knows some things. So we're not going to be able to outshoot the Warriors. But if we've got, basically, Boston, you've got athletic guys between 6'5" and 6'8" that you can just throw out there, because just like LeBron with Durant, you're not going to be able to guard him with one guy.
Yeah.
But if you got a Kuzma, a Josh Hart, a Lance Stevenson, a Michael Beasley, a LeBron James, Caldwell Pope, like you've just got this plethora of guys that can all handle the ball, not knock down shooters, but can make shots and. I already said handle the ball, but just versatile wing players that kind of puts the onus on the Warriors that, okay, we take you out of your element of playing team defense, and then that affects you offensively.
Yeah, exactly. It takes them out of their groove. I mean, really, I don't think the challenge is going to be on these assembly of players, as you said. I think the bigger challenge is going to be for LeBron James to change his game a little bit. He's been so accustomed to trying to mold a team around shooters and himself,
right?
That he's gonna, really have to focus more on the ins and outs of what these guys can offer. Who's gonna have their moments? I think that was what took Miami to the level that they were playing. I don't think it's that easy, though. I think he is going to experience a lot of frustration, and that's going to be something that he shouldn't be the only one responsible for bringing that team along. It's going to be guys like Luke Walton, Magic, another guy like Rondo on the floor to really keep things together. Because we saw, seemingly last season and even the season prior, with Kyrie, LeBron losing Kyrie, Kyrie being in the mix the year prior, when he really just was not, I don't think, as committed to the team. LeBron really felt the pressure, and we saw that in the playoffs. We saw that all throughout the season. He was the one responsible for taking his team forward, and that has never been, I don't think, something that has made him the most successful player he can be. It just overworks him, tires him. And for him to get at this stage in his career, going through a whole season like that could be rough. Do you think they're gonna, do you think it could take them a full season or so to be competitive with Golden State? Because I don't see it this first year.
This first year, I don't see it. I will say this, though. I think because they're in the same division now, so they're gonna play 4 times a year. I think the series goes 2-2 in the regular season.
Okay.
And to your point, I think what LeBron experienced this year and in the playoffs, I think he's ready to make that change in his game to accustom younger players, which is what he said. He was ready to hand the keys to Kyrie, but he said that after he left, so we don't know, if he would truly have done it.
Right.
But I think, saying it's one thing, but experiencing it is a whole other thing. So I think from what he experienced this past season, he's like, okay, like if I want to keep going, I need to make this change.
Yeah.
So I think he's definitely ready for it. Like you said, as far as the players, how they'll come along, we won't know until they actually get on the court. But and I hate the Lakers, and it pains me to say this, but I'm very optimistic because the one thing you can say about the Lakers' young players from seeing last year, they play hard, and they play a lot harder than the guys that he had on the Cavs this year. The 20-plus guys they had on the Cavs.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think they have a lot of spirit right now. Luke Walton is I think he's pretty underrated at got his guys to feel motivated, getting them to, evolve a little bit quickly. We saw Brandon Ingram was just hitting his stride.
He was so good this year.
Yeah, he's only on the up and up. I'm so glad they found a way to, not jump the gun and lose him somehow in a trade. Randall is kind of a, he's a casualty. I think they would have liked to keep him if they could have.
Now, with you saying that, let me throw this out there. So you've got McGee, Lance Stevenson, Rondo, and Michael Beasley. Would you give up 2 of those guys to keep Julius Randle?
Maybe. That's a harder question. It depends on what you're trying to execute next year. To me, Randall is not a guy that complements LeBron James.
That's definitely true.
I think that's really where they were going. He's kind of a workhorse down low. He really needs the ball, at the top of the key. Does his little dribble drive.
He's James Harden and Zach Randall.
Exactly. Like, that just doesn't. I don't think that's a part of what LeBron James wants.
Now. Prior LeBron James, yes, but maybe he would have fit in with the new LeBron James we're expecting to see.
You never know. He's one of those guys that I want on my team to make Draymond Green's work hard all game. I want him to just put some other, another touch of physicality to both the offensive and defensive sides. It puts some pressure off my back. But the bigger focal points are, Kuzma, Ingram, and Ball, if, he continues to be a part of, these guard rotation conversations, which, look, if the guy doesn't come along in his second year, he's out of there. We saw that with D'Angelo Russell.
D'Angelo was good, though. D'Angelo was the best player on that team. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But, for obvious reasons. And
he was coming along, and
if LeVar Ball hadn't talked his son up into being it's only been in 1 year, but I don't think Lonzo Ball is a number 2 pick. His dad talked him into that, which we all, have seen. So I think D'Angelo Russell's upside is higher than Lonzo Ball's. But with that being said, if they knew they were going after LeBron, Lonzo Ball is a better fit.
Sure.
With LeBron.
Sure.
But I think D'Angelo Russell's a talented player, has a far more upside.
Yeah. And we'll continue to see him. Brooklyn is one of those teams, for some reason, they have just not been in the playoff picture consistently. And with the money that they have to throw at these guys, there's even more pressure for a player like D'Angelo to show, some spark for the franchise to get some guys to pay attention.
Yeah. With that being said, just a full circle, we forgot to touch on the free agents that Jeremy Lin was traded to the Hawks. So D'Angelo Russell should be getting up a lot more shots this year.
I would think so. What is this? This is his 5th year now, is it?
Yes. We'll say 5th.
Okay. He's got his dreads growing out a little bit. The dude is prime. He's in prime time.
Him and Alan Crabb, top 5 Eastern Conference backcourt.
Hey man, we'll see. I know with Kuzma, the year he had last year, I'm expecting really big things from him. We saw guys in summer league, Josh Hart.
Yes.
They'll have some pieces that I think can certainly have room for growth from the start to the end of the season. So these guys will see themselves in a bigger role come playoff time. But hey, I'm keeping my fingers crossed on where LA will find themselves, postseason. The West obviously got a lot better, but it's still super competitive for a guy like LeBron James.
Definitely. So we know they're not a top 5 team. Do you think they are better than Denver?
Denver, yes. The only teams I'm seeing them behind immediately is obviously Golden State. I'm going to still keep Houston at that top level because of, the high potential of them to land Carmelo Anthony. Even outside of Carmelo, James Harden and Chris Paul are what they are.
Yeah.
Like we said, Spurs still have some potential to work their way back into a top seed. And then, with what Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and some of those other guys, what they were able to do in the playoffs last year really opened my eyes of how competitive they can be right now. I think LA will still float in the top 5.
Top 5. Are they better than Portland?
don't know, man. That's another one. It's just like whoever can challenge what's happening last year, because I think a lot of these guys will be in the similar seeds. LA will just jump up a bit, but teams like Dallas, teams like the Clippers, Minnesota, come on, like we gotta say that they're gonna be doing something.
We would think that. I think LA's just above Minnesota and Denver, and just a tad behind Portland and New Orleans.
Okay.
So I expect them to fall somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I could see that. Again, they have one of the biggest learning curves to adjust to at the start of the year, so we could probably switch the conversation cut mid-season. You never know how quickly they'll come around.
We'll definitely see.
Mm-hmm.
So now, Summer League. When we come back, we've got a lot to discuss.
Z's got a few stories to tell us about that Vegas Heat.
So we'll be right back.